What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. This video we're going to be talking about Brett's Streaklite ST behind me. This is the bike from the previous video with the 135 build that I mentioned. This one had a bit of a noise in the engine and the customer was left no choice but to fly home because I did not want to dyno tune it with that noise, and I did not really feel comfortable sending the customer home on the bike making that noise either. So unfortunately he's had to fly home. And I just had to, so I had a lot of other work booked in at the time. We only had this guy booked in for a max of sort of a full day to do the pipe swap and dyno tune. But with this noise we had to investigate, and I said, look, we don't know what's wrong. It could take way more than a day to rectify this, so let's weigh up the options. And anyway, he ended up flying home. So we've sorted it out, we've found the problem, but just a quick backstory on the bike of what it is and what's going on. So the customer bought the bike brand new here. So he lives down in New South Wales in the Newcastle area, and he bought the bike up here in Queensland from a big dealer down, just another dealer, wasn't us, and he had an APE CR483 plus pack fitted from new. Now that's all well and good. It had the TBR, there's a TBR pipe up there. He had the TBR 2-in-1 fitted at the time, and the customer was pretty happy with it. It was going well, everything was good. After a few thousand Ks or so, the engine started to make a bit of a noise, an intermittent sort of tapping, rattly sound. And of course, the customer took it back to a bunch of, it's been to a few different dealers, some of the local ones he was at, some other aftermarket performance shops as well to look at. And they've sort of just come back up empty-handed, because sometimes when these bikes make noises, especially when they're intermittent, if the bike presents not making the noise that day, we can't hear the noise. So I'm not, the other shops that didn't hear the noise may not have heard the noise. That's fair enough. Anyway, so after a while, the customer said, he would be riding along, and sometimes the noise would get really bad, sometimes it wasn't that bad, and it just would come and go. So after a few more thousand Ks, he thought, right, well, no one's really sort of coming up with any answers here. Maybe we'll do, he's always considered doing a 128 cubic inch top end. Let's do that. That way, when the top end comes off, whoever does it will be able to check out the cylinder heads. We're going to be replacing the cylinders and the pistons anyway, so if there's anything wrong with that, that'll sort it out. So the customer had the 128 cubic inch top end done at another performance location, and the noise was still there. The customer could hear it. Apparently that shop couldn't hear it. The customer was told sometimes they're rattly, this, that, just general, it's okay sort of speech. So anyway, and the customer was not left very happy with the way the bike was tuned. So I'm going to put up a sheet, the dyno sheet from where it was dyno tuned on the screen. I'm going to blank out the shop's name. I don't want to get into any of that nonsense, but it was supposed to be making 154 horsepower and 150 foot-pounds of torque as a 128 cube with the 483 and that TBR pipe. The customer rode the bike here, and I baselined it, and this is what it made. Righto guys, so you can see I've just baselined this bike, and it is making 122 horsepower and 135 foot-pounds of torque. Now it's very, very ordinary. The tune does not look very good at all. There's lots going on. Really, really need to address it. But yeah, that's what it did on this dyno. So when I finish tuning this thing, it's going to have the best back-to-back comparison versus what it rode in doing, and then versus what it's doing after I tune it up. But obviously it's had a pipe swap, but after I tune it up as well. So we'll really have a good baseline to go from. Right, so you can see a big difference in outputs there, guys. Now I know dynos are different, elevations different, conditions are different. You can expect up to probably 10% difference between dynos and altitudes and that. So that would take this making 155 horsepower, 154 horsepower. You would assume somewhere around 135 to 140 horsepower is what I would have maybe expected to see here. But coming in at 122 horsepower is well and truly below what it should be. That's typically what a 117 makes with a cam. So as a 128, the tune is just not, we're going to have to address that. Obviously we've done a pipe swap anyway. We've done the SP Concepts Big Bore Works edition. We've done a pipe swap, so it's not a direct comparison, but it's a back-to-back reading of what the bike rode in doing versus what it rode out, what it's going to ride out doing. Right, let's get into this noise, guys. We're going to go through some of the parts up here and have a look, because this was Customer got very lucky with this one, that's for sure. So the first thing we did after I told the customer I can hear it, we're going to have to go in and investigate. The first thing I did was check the push rod adjustment, which when you pop the little covers up down the bottom here, so you flick your little retainer pin out here, that guy, and then you can lift the bottom of the push rod tube up and you can check to make sure they've got the correct adjustment on them. So we did that and they were adjusted okay. We pulled the cam cover off and I noticed that the cam chain was very loose. It would go tight and loose, tight and loose. I've got a little clip here of what the cam chain tensioner was doing when we were cranking the engine. So you can see there the tensioners, it should be held out with oil pressure constantly. It should maybe deflect back a little bit with a little bit of pressure, but not, you could see how it was going back and forth. So I thought, right, there's obviously something wrong with the tensioner because the hydraulic oil pressure should, the oil pressure should hold that tensioner out. It should not spring back so easily with the oil pressure being fed in there. Now we did find, hopefully you can see there's a little chunk, that'll focus, there's a chunk of the tensioner missing out here, which is not the end of the world, but still not good at the same time. Hope that's focusing. All right, so you can see that little chunk there out of the tensioner. Now, while that's not the end of the world, it's not good either, but the way that thing was springing back so easily against the chain tension was not good, so we replaced that, and this is what it looked like. Right, so you can see with the new tension on there, it was holding pressure out and it wasn't springing back. And I thought, great, we're onto it. It's just that tensioner, it's causing the chain to chatter because as the cam comes up under load and then flicks back over the nose, it tightens and loosens the chain, and that's that chattering sound that we can hear. And perhaps this tension is just intermittently doing that. That's what it's, that's what it is. Let's put a new tension on, put it back together, easy fix. It wasn't that. Well, actually, I did replace the cam chain too because I thought it's obviously worn a little bit. So new cam chain, new tensioner, and that did not fix it. It was still making the noise. So then we decided to pull this thing down further. So we got the push rods out of it, and what I noticed there was annoying. What I noticed was these were, well, they are Screaming Eagle adjustable push rods, and whoever put these in had both intake push rods in the rear cylinder and both exhaust push rods in the front cylinder. Now, while that's not a huge deal because they are adjustable push rods, there is a difference in the push rod length to start with to aid in the ease of installation when you're putting them in up under here. So there is a bit of a difference in the shoulder length of the adjustable push rod. The intake ones are a little bit shorter, so you can get them in under there. So anyway, whoever did it obviously didn't know that there is a difference in it, for one, and for two, they didn't even look at the components well enough because it actually says on their intake and exhaust. So yeah, poor workmanship on that front as far as I'm concerned. So that didn't leave me very confident. I thought, right, well, there's got to be some other stuff going on. So we continued to pull it down, and then we found the culprit. So what was it? Right, so these are Screaming Eagle high capacity lifters, and you can see this one here is a ticking time bomb. It was about to explode. Very lucky we caught this when we did, because it's very bad when this fails. Now these are Screaming Eagle high capacity ones. They are a relatively good lifter. They have, high capacity rollers under there, but for whatever reason this one's failed. Now that's not to say Screaming Eagle ones are junk. These are just, it is what it is. This is what's happened. Now you can see here on the camshaft too, it has damaged that intake lobe. You can see right where the pressure is the greatest across the nose of the cam, where it's really worn out. The base circle of it's fine. Well, there's some marks there, but we replaced that anyway, along with the lifter cuff. So you can see, you can see here the wear mark, those two silver lines there. Get the lighting right, hopefully. Anyway, it's worn on the back there and the front, so probably still would have been okay to run because the lifters shouldn't actually touch there, but I put some Cyclorama ones in nonetheless. New cam chain, new tensioner of course, and the new lifters and new camshaft, and that has sorted it out, guys. So that's, the bike runs beautifully now. It's quiet, it's great, and it is ready to tune. Let's have a listen. This thing's stone cold too, guys. So there's no editing trickery here. This is dead cold. This is cold start. Right, so this thing is ready to be tuned up and get a result for it. I'm going to be doing that next week, so that'll be another quick video for you guys as well. You probably noticed I've been trying to punch out a bit more content than usual, so I hope you're enjoying it all. It's just quick form stuff. There's not much editing going on, so I hope you really enjoy it. But yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing our post result on this one, because as I said, I know it's not a direct comparison of the pipe that it had on there. The bike was always coming here for a pipe swap and dyno tune anyway, so it just happened that we found that stuff luckily there to get sorted. But I am a little concerned. I mean, that was a big difference in power. Obviously, it was allegedly making 154 horsepower at the other shop there. Coming here making 122 is quite a letdown. If you have a look at that other dyno graph too and go back, you'll probably pick up on the 52, so they've obviously just picked the best of both. I don't know what they've done, but it's not, I don't feel it's accurate representation. But anyway, look, doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into that. We've baselined this thing, we've fixed the fuck ups, and we are ready to retune this thing and give the customer back a proper running, proper tuned bike. Thanks for watching, guys. I will post the results of this coming in another video soon. So thanks for watching this one. I'll see you next time.